What's good, y'all? Welcome back to KeepItTechie, your go-to channel for learning Linux and breaking into the tech field. I'm Josh, and today we're diving into one of my all-time favorite Linux commands, Rsync. This command is a straight-up powerhouse when it comes to synchronizing, backing up, and transferring files. So whether you're a sysadmin, a developer, or just someone trying to keep their files organized, Rsync is an absolute must-have in your Linux toolkit. So stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll not only understand what Rsync does, but also how to use it like a pro. So let's sync up and get started. All right, before we get started with the demonstration, let's talk about what makes it so special. The name stands for remote sync, but don't let it fool you. It's just as good for local file transfers as it is for remote ones. This command is fast, efficient, and highly customizable. And here's the secret sauce. Rsync uses a delta transfer algorithm, meaning it only transfers the file that have changed. So this makes it way faster than just copying everything from scratch. Plus, it supports compression, encryption, and even preserves file permissions. Also timestamps and symbolic links. And to top all of this off, it's available on almost every Linux distribution and even works on Mac OS and Windows with some tweaks. Now that's some cross-platform goodness right there. Why would you use Rsync? First off, mainly backups. Keeping your files backed up is crucial, and Rsync makes it simple. So whether you're backing up locally or to remote servers, Rsync handles it with ease. And then also file syncing. If you got multiple systems or servers, syncing files between them can be a hassle, but Rsync ensures your files stay in sync without duplicating work, especially when you combine it with a bash script and cron. Now, one other cool thing is the incremental updates. Say you got a huge directory of files and only a couple of them have changed. Rsync updates just the changes, saving you that time and bandwidth. Now, as far as remote transfers, let's say you need to move between systems. This is something that I do all the time. I'll synchronize my home directory using Rsync. And also, the best part about it is it works over SSH for secure transfers. Now, one other thing I talk about, and this dives into cron, you can script Rsync to run on schedule for automating your backups and file syncing tasks. So no matter what you're trying to do, Rsync solves the problem quickly and efficient. Hey y'all, Josh here from KeepItTechie. Real quick, let's talk about Rocky Linux. This distro is the real deal if you're looking for a solid enterprise-ready Linux solution. It all started after Red Hat dropped CentOS, and Gregory Kurtzer, the OG co-founder of CentOS, brought us Rocky Linux as a tribute to his late friend, Rocky McGough. This is community-driven, open-source software at its finest, and it's already making waves. Rocky Linux 8.10 is out now, giving you that enterprise-grade stability without all the Red Hat licensing headaches. So whether you're running a home lab or a full-on data center, Rocky's got your back. So if you want to keep it open source and keep your data secure, check out Rocky Linux. The link's down in the description of the video. It's built by the community, for the community, and it's here to stay. Stay techie, y'all. All right, so let's jump into some real-world examples. So I want you to fire up your terminal and let's make some magic happen. The first thing I always do when I'm showing people new commands or commands they're unfamiliar with, I'll bring up the man page. So let's zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. And let's make the terminal a whole lot bigger. And that's cool right there. So like I said, let's open up the manual for Rsync. So man, Rsync. And the great part about Rsync, it's installed by default on pretty much all Linux distros out there. You won't have to install it unless you're using certain systems that are minimized, that don't have much packages installed on it, and you want to build it all from scratch. So let's go and press enter. Like I said, that'll open up the manual for it. You'll get the name, which is Rsync, the fast and versatile remote and local file copying tool. You also get the synopsis with a breakdown of how to run the command. It breaks it all down for you up in here. You also get a description. And one cool thing about Rsync, the documentation is real in depth. So if you go down in here, you'll see examples, you'll see a breakdown of all the different options that you have. But if you look down here at the bottom and you open up man, it's 175 lines. So that lets you know how detailed the manual is for the Rsync command. But I'll go down and let you guys read that at your leisure. It's a lot of information in here, and I don't think I could fit it all into one video. So let's go down and go through some commands. Now, the first command I want to show you guys is how to do a simple file copy. And just to break it all down for you, let's go down and type Rsync, and then I'll put in 2 options in here. And these are like the base options. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. The A stands for archive mode, which preserves permissions, timestamps, and then the V gives you verbose output. And this is perfect for a basic copy. And a basic format is Rsync and then your options, and then you want to put your source. So whatever you're sourcing or whatever you're copying, and then the destination that you want to copy it to. So what I'm gonna do is use some of the word lists that we got out here on Kali. And I believe under the share, there is a folder called word list from what I remember. And then the next thing you want to do is put your destination. So I'm gonna copy it to my home directory. I'm gonna put this stuff in under my documents. And let's go back in here. I want to pick something right fast. I can't remember. I think it's the RockU list. Yeah, so let's go down and copy that file into my documents directory. So let's go down and press enter. Boom, it'll synchronize that file. As you can see, that file is pretty big. It's like a 50 megabyte file. It's a big word list. And so if we ls my documents directory and press enter, you'll see that RockU database or word list right there in my documents. So that's essentially how Rsync works on a base level. Next thing I'm gonna do is show you guys how to sync to a remote server. And I'm gonna copy that word list over to one of my remote servers, but I will be adding the Z flag, which compresses data during the transfer. And this kind of speeds things up when you're moving files from one server to another server and it's all remote. Then you use that Z option, which I'll just type it out for you. But if you type Rsync -avz, and like I said, that Z will compress as it's copying. So that, like I said, that'll speed it up. So instead of it looking like it's copying 50 megabytes, it'll compress it down, and let's say it sees it as 45 megabytes that it's copying or that it's using on your network. You know what I'm saying, as far as bandwidth goes. So let's copy the one we got in our home directory. So home Josh, and then documents, and then the RockU word list. And then now, in order to copy to a remote server, you have to have SSH permissions. And it's basically the same way of typing in SSH connection. So if you have to use a different user account, let's say root, then you have to go root and then the IP address. But I have the same account on whatever server I'm copying to. I put Josh on pretty much everything, especially on my production server. So all I had to do is type in the IP address for it. It'll automatically know that it's Josh, but let me type it out just to show you guys the practical way of actually doing it. Let's say you don't have that account over there. It's like a root account or a user account or something like that. Whatever user account, you type in that user account, the @ symbol, and then the IP address of that server. And then from there, you have to put a colon, and then you have to specify where you want it. And so I have a home directory over there, and then Josh, and we'll just drop it in my home directory on that server. So let's go down and press enter, and this will synchronize. It'll connect via SSH, so it's secure. So all you have to do is type a yes, and then that'll add the fingerprint, because this is my first time connecting to that server from this system. So it'll add the fingerprint here, and then we can type in our password over there on that server, and it'll copy over the files. And as you can see, it gives you information as it's copying. So sending incremental file list, and then this breaks down what is sent. So 53. And if you look at the size of this in bytes, you'll see that it's less than what was actually sent over here, up here locally, because it doesn't have to compress anything. So it took off like about a megabyte or two just to compress it. But if you look at the total size of the actual file, it's still the same as the total size up here. That's one thing you want to check, just to verify that it sent that total size amount over there, even though it compressed it. And then also, it's pretty much the same way. You can copy from the remote server back here. So let's go ahead and remove that word list from our documents directory. So let's remove it right fast. And actually, I won't be, putting it back in there. I'll just put it in my home directory when I copy it from the remote server. So I know it's on that remote server. I know it's over there. So you can type Rsync and then -avz, and then you just specify that remote server. So the same thing is just the opposite. So our source is from that remote server. So Josh, and then 10.10.0.8. And then we have to put the colon, /, and then home, and then /Josh, /, and then we have to specify that file. I'm gonna just copy it from up here because I know it's the exact same name, and let's paste it in there. That way we know for sure that it's gonna copy that file, that specific file. And plus I don't want to copy anything else up in there. And then specify our destination. So we want it under our home and Josh. I'm gonna just put it under my home directory. Press enter. It's gonna ask you for your password again because you are syncing into that server to copy the files down. And as you can see, it did the exact same thing. It's just in reverse. And if we ls our home directory, boom, you'll see that rocku.txt.gz. So just wanted to show you guys that you could do the opposite. You could copy from a remote server back to whatever server you're on, which is super cool. Let me clear right fast. Now, let me set something up for you guys right fast. And what I want to do is just basically copy all that stuff from over there. So I'm gonna type Rsync and then -avz, and then we're gonna copy everything from that user share and then word list. And what we want to do is copy all of that to our documents directory. So everything under the word list directory into our documents directory. So let's go home /Josh, and then our documents directory, and press enter. It'll copy all those files over into, like I said, our document directory. Now let's ls our document directory right fast. I can show you guys something right fast. That's the documents. That's all the files that are in, or that were in, the user share. And then also what I want to do is copy all those files over or sync them to the downloads directory as well. And really this is, like I said, it's just to set up an example for you guys. So all the things in documents, and then we want to put them in our downloads directory. Press enter. It'll copy everything over there. So let's say you want to keep the documents and downloads synchronized. So anytime you remove something from your documents and you run Rsync, it will delete that file in the downloads location as well. Let's ls our documents directory again, so we can just find a file, a specific file we want to remove. So let's cd to the documents directory. That way we're working in that directory. And let's remove our rocku word list. Press, and then let's ls this directory again. You'll see that rocku is gone, right? But if we ls our downloads directory, so let's go into downloads and press enter. You'll see rocku is over there as well. And yeah, I forgot I got Tor browser over there, so that'll remove all that as well. So in order to synchronize these two directories, so our downloads directory, which is right here, and our documents directory, let's say we want this to look exactly like this in downloads. Let me show you guys how to do that. The way to do that is simply Rsync and then -av, and then there's an option called delete. So -delete, and then let's specify our source. So this is basically the folder we want the other folder to look like, which is our source, is our documents directory. And I'm gonna just type them out all out, the full directory. So home, and then Josh, and then documents. And then we want to synchronize this directory with our downloads directory. So let's type home, Josh, and then downloads. And we want to synchronize both of those. So let's go and press enter, and you'll see that it went through and synchronized those directories. And by looking at what happened, it basically went through and deleted anything that was not in the original directory or the source directory. So you'll see it deleting all these files. I hit the Tor browser in there, I believe, and something else. And just to show you guys, I'm in the documents directory. I'm gonna type ls/la so you guys can see what's in there. You'll see that these files are in there. Boom, we got those. And if we ls/la and let's do our downloads directory and press enter, you'll see that they are synchronized now. So they have pretty much the exact same information in both of them. And let's make the terminal a little bigger so you guys can see it, but exactly the same. So it deletes files and makes sure all the files match on both locations. So just wanted to show you guys that. Super cool. All right, so we're good to go. Let's go down and clear. And one thing I'm gonna do is remove everything from our downloads directory. So let's go remove, and then tilde / and then downloads directory. And let's just delete everything out of there right fast. Let me cd back to this home directory, and then let's ls our downloads again. and you'll see that nothing is in our downloads directory. So I want to set it up, like I said, for another option I want to show you guys, and that's the exclude option. And this will allow you to exclude files that you don't want synchronized to the other location. So let's ls-la our documents directory so you guys can see a better view of what we're copying. As you can see, boom, that's all our files in there. Let's say you want to copy everything except our text files. And just so you guys know, the reason it looks like this is because they are linked files, which is fine. I don't care about these files, but that's what happened when I Rsync them. Like I said, it kept the actual permissions and all that stuff. So it was actually a linked file when I was copying it. So we use that archive mode, just so you guys know why they look like this. Now, like I said, let's exclude our text files right fast. So what you have to do is type Rsync and then AV and then dash exclude. And what you want to do is specify what you want to exclude, and you have to put it in a single quote. So I always do both of my quotes. So my opening and closing quote. So the single quote, and then we can specify the wildcard and then .txt. And so that'll exclude all our text files with that option. So let's go on and type in our directories that we want to synchronize. So documents again, and then we want to put it in our downloads directory. We want to synchronize that. So let's press enter. You'll see that it copies all the files that are in there, excluding the text file. So if we ls-la again, our documents, our downloads directory, press enter, boom, you'll see that the list is shorter. So all of the text files were excluded during the copy. So that's just a way of excluding files that you don't want synchronized. And this is beneficial if you're doing backups or something, and certain files that, let's say they have constant changes or something, or it's like an active file that's, let's say it's a database file and it's active or something. You don't want to copy those locked files because it's not going to work. You may have to export the database, especially if it has a bunch of connections to it, then you can't touch those locked files or it won't work properly. So let's say you want to exclude something that's actively being used, then you can exclude it and copy everything else in that directory. Now, one other thing I want to do, let me remove everything from that downloads directory again, but I'm gonna show you guys the dry run. And this is very important, so don't make any mistakes, because with Rsync you can easily make mistakes. And I meant to do, let's see, downloads, and then let's just put a store there just to remove everything from out of there. But if we ls that downloads directory, everything should be gone now. Yeah, it's blank. So let me show you guys how to do a dry run. So let's say you wanted to do that, and I'm gonna bring up that same command we just ran. So let's say you want to test it out before you actually run it to see what's actually going to happen, where there's another option and it's in. So avn, that is for the dry run or the test run. So if you put it in there, press enter. This is a good thing to run before you copy stuff. That way you could see what's actually going to happen. And if we, let's say, up arrow and ls at downloads directory, you'll see nothing was copied, but it gives you a dry run, and it states right here, dry run. So you'll know that it's not actually doing anything. It's not actually executing the copy or the synchronization. And it'll show you what it'll actually do as far as excluding those text files and all that stuff. So it's best to do this before you make any changes or whatever. Now, one other thing I want to show you guys right fast, and this has to do with Human-readable, like right here. Don't you remember when we copied the RockU database and it was like 50 gigabytes? And actually, let's go and do that. Let's copy it again. Let's see if it's, I can't remember if it's still there, but let's find out right fast. So let's run avh, and then under user, share, and then wordless, and then let's actually copy the file this time. I'm gonna take that archive mode out for there and put vh. That's fine. You can run it that way. Press enter, and it'll copy that file over for us. And it's not a link this time. It actually copied the file. So if we ls, and actually we didn't copy it because I didn't put a destination. And so let's run it again, but let's put a destination this time. So I apologize for that. Let's put downloads, and let's put it in that directory. Press enter. So as you can see, it copied it over. And then with that H, this is what I wanted to show you guys. It'll put it in a human-readable format. So 53 megabytes instead of when we did it earlier, say like it had it in byte, you know what I'm saying? So I always put H in there for every command, really. Every command I'm synchronizing, I put H in there so I can see it in a human-readable format. And then you can also see your bytes in seconds transferred or megabytes transferred. So good to go. So that should be very beneficial for you if you're copying, especially big files. You got a whole bunch of big files that you're copying. That's beneficial to actually add in there when you're copying those files. And that's it, folks, your crash course on Rsync. Like I said, this command is a true workhorse for Linux users. And now you've got the tools to use it confidently. So whether you're synchronizing files, backing up data, or automating your workflow, Rsync is one of those commands you really want to learn and add to your tool belt. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Keep It Techie. And hey, drop a comment down below. Let me know how you're planning to use Rsync in your setup, or if you've got questions. Until next time, keep learning, keep sharing, and of course, keep it techie. Peace. Yo, what's up, y'all? Listen, if you've been sitting there thinking about making a move, let me tell you, tech is where it's at. I don't care where you're coming from, whether you've got a degree, a GED, or just pure hustle. There's room for you in this game. You see, tech is more than just keyboards and code. It's solving problems, creating opportunities, and building the future. You already have what it takes because tech doesn't care where you start. It cares where you're willing to go. You can teach yourself Linux, learn Python, break into cybersecurity, or even launch your own app. And the resources are out here for free. And yes, you heard me, free. Now, yeah, it's gonna take effort. You'll have to grind, but think about this. The time is gonna pass anyway. So why not invest it in a skill that'll change your life? I mean, tech doesn't just pay the bills, it opens doors to freedom, stability, and generational wealth. So stop doubting yourself, start small, stay consistent, and keep building. Because this isn't just a career, it's a movement. And guess what? You belong here. So let's get it, because the future is yours to build. Keep it techie.